ARMS. As the only thing more forgettable than a dementia patient's grandchildren, most people only know it as that one Switch game that Nintendo tried to turn into the next Splatoon, but failed miserably because they forgot the main reason that people liked Splatoon: fun. Almost all of the game's positives, from the characters to the lore to the art style, are all left behind with the corpse of the game itself. And I just think that's a shame. There's a lot of magic hidden in this game that deserves so much more attention. So I'm going to give it that attention and tell you why ARMS is really cool actually, and how dare you ignore these stupid things. So what is it about this game that makes it so incredible? Firstly, the entire aesthetic of this game is astounding. The style of this game uses bright, contrasting colors and shapes, both in and out of gameplay. The sound design is also great, the snappy sounds and the that plays after the match ends. Speaking of sound, the music in this game is excellent. The vocals in the background and the catchy melodies work together to create a very unique soundtrack. The only thing I can kind of compare it to is Splatoon, but even that comparison isn't accurate. Here, just listen to it. God fucking, the character designs are also wonderful. Each one clearly illustrates its personality, while also just looking aesthetically pleasing. Mostly. But of course, the most intricate part of this game, in my opinion, has to be the lore. There's not much in the game itself, unfortunately, but Nintendo posted a lot of information about the world on Twitter.com. Who the fuck do you think you are, Pipsy Pop? So, there are two types of people: normal people, and people with the ARMS trait, which gives their arms spring-like qualities. Unfortunately, anyone with the ARMS trait can't control when their arms expand and contract. While the ARMS trait itself has existed for thousands of years, the amount of people affected by it has increased drastically in recent years, with around 2% of the current world population having the trait. Eventually, an invention by the ARMS organization, now known as the ARMS Laboratory, would change everything. A mask that allows anyone with the ARMS trait to control their arms. These masks were made for the entirely normal reason of beating the shit out of each other. Wait, what? The ARMS Laboratory continues to make lab reports referencing some of the playable characters and their potential usefulness in their research. In fact, when one of the characters refuses to cooperate with the research, they sent people to get samples without their knowledge. And apparently, the ARMS Laboratory can't contact the people they sent anymore, which heavily implies that the person they were studying killed them. Valid crash out for real. Anyways, one of their experiments called the Headlock, an invention that would allow for people without the ARMS trait to fight people with the trait, gained sentience and ran away to search for something. Most people in the ARMS Laboratory are freaking out because, like, what the fuck do? We have to stop this thing from crashing out. The exception to this is the lead scientist, Dr. Coyle, who's just like, I don't give a fuck. Just, I don't know, let the fighters deal with it, I guess. There's more lore to this that I could discuss, such as character details and stuff, but I think you get my point. Basically, this game locked in when there was no need to, and I think that's pretty cool. So how is it that after all of this charm and personality, this game has been almost completely forgotten? Well, ARMS is a video game. Yeah, no shit. And video games have gameplay. Yeah, no shit. And the gameplay is now, some people do like this game for the gameplay. Some people also like to commit murder, so that's not really saying much, but hey, some people do find this game enjoyable for long periods of time. Those forwards at the end are very important, by the way, because yes, this game is relatively fun, for like a week at best. So here's the basics. You pick out a cast of characters, each one with their own gimmick, and select up to 3 different types of arms that have different abilities. You then enter a battle with an opponent and select which arms you want to equip on each arm. You then fight your opponent through the main rock, paper, scissors combat system, in which you can punch, block, and grab your opponent, sort of like Smash Bros. You can also jump and dodge, which are the fastest movement options. Finally, if you jump, dodge, or block for long enough, you can charge your punches and activate their special effects. Seems fun, right? So here's the thing. This game feels very sluggish to play. Remember how I said that jumping was the fastest movement option? Well, that's because it's basically the only movement option. Blocking normally is painfully slow to the point where if you do it, you will die. So have fun jumping around like a crackhead if you want to survive. Every other action just takes a bit too long to do as well. which isn't exactly that big of a deal unless you fight against an AI opponent. For some reason, they're able to react faster than the player can, or at least that I can, which tell me that the game isn't as sluggish as I think and it's actually just a skill issue. But most people seem to have the same skill issue since I don't have that same problem when I play against another player, so that makes me feel better about myself. Speaking of feeling better about myself, let's take a look at the main menu. Yeah, this makes me feel much more accomplished with my life. The Grand Prix is the main single-player mode that has you fight a series of mostly normal battles with the occasional unique game mode until you reach the final boss that is different depending on the difficulty you selected. Versus mode lets you do an isolated match with a mode of your choosing. It also has a unique mode called 1-on-100, in which you have to defeat 100 blobs without dying. It's not that interesting, honestly. Party Match puts you in an online lobby with the 5 other people still playing this game in the Big 25. Rank matches allow you to compete to raise your rank, if you can get into a match. I looked it up and apparently you can eventually get into a match after anywhere from 10 to 40 minutes. But that's for the higher ranks, and I'm at the lowest rank because I've never played this mode before working on this video, and I don't think I'd ever be able to get a match going. You can select the option to play with friends, even though you can just select Party Match and play with them because there's so few players. I have done this multiple times with one of my friends, I'm not even joking. There's local play, no there isn't. You can't convince me that multiple people within a 5-mile radius even remember this game's fucking existence, let alone are willing to get close enough for the feature to actually work. And then there's training mode, that's literally just a tutorial. I guess there's the stuff on the bottom. There's help for more tutorials, dashboard for news about the game if you want a reminder of how dead it is, stats for matches and characters and arms you've been using during the various versions of the game, replays of previous matches, a collection of artwork from the different characters, okay that was pretty cool actually, an achievement system where some of the achievements can't be obtained anymore, so what's the point, equipment screen, and hey look, an actual thing to talk about. So the way you get new arms for your characters is through this mode where you spend the in-game currency, start a minigame where you have to break the targets in order to score points, as well as various boxes in the background. It's a really interesting way of unlocking things, and I wish more games did something similar. We have now talked about all of the things the gameplay in this game has to offer. That is not a joke. Now if this game costs like, I don't know, $10, this would be fine. In fact, I'd say it's a steal. This game costs $60 fucking dollars. I mean, it's not that surprising when you consider the fact that Nintendo basically makes all of their games 60, I mean 70, I mean 80. Yeah, no amount of charm this game could give is worth $60, especially with the cost of Switch Online adding to it. Now, I said at the beginning of this section that this game was fun at first before eventually becoming stale, and I stand by that. I genuinely enjoyed my time returning to the game for research for this video. But with that being said, I'm probably not going to touch this game for like, at least another year, I'm sorry. Like, I just don't care enough, and there's literally no incentive for me to return. But with that being said, I still think this game is very interesting to talk about. It had basically everything going for it except for the game part of the game. I think that all they would need to do for this game to be more memorable is for them to add more single-player offerings, more polish to the gameplay, and more of a reason to come back. You might have noticed that the thumbnail of this video claims that you will remember it, and that's because I think you will. We all will. We'll all remember the charm and the presentation and the characters, and be sad that it's all been forgotten to time. This game still has a dedicated community that still loves it. And I am confident that number will continue to grow, and that this game will be the next Pikmin or Star Fox or Metroid, that there will be a small group of people waiting for a sequel, and I hope that you will be among them. I know I certainly will. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out my other videos if you enjoyed this one. I hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.